All right. Welcome to Totally Booked Right Now. This is Cammie.
And I'm Kirsten. And today we are
Yay!
covering None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This is like a psychological thriller. We read this for our book club and figured I really liked it. I was bamboozled.
It was too. I think that I kind of anticipated certain parts of the plot just because of the characters' actions, but overall, very, very shocked. Very shocked.
It's twisty-turny. So we're excited to talk about this. And let's just fucking go. Okay, so to start, there's a prologue, but like all prologues, we don't know what is happening. A person we don't know is somewhere we don't know, talking to someone else we don't know, getting into a car. That's pretty much the end of it. And then there are some blurbs about how this story has been turned into a new true crime documentary, a podumentary, if you will, which I did love the This Is Spinal Tap reference. That's going to be coming to Netflix soon. And the podumentary is going to be called Hi, I'm Your Birthday Twin. It's going to be about this podcaster named Alix Summer, whose life spun out of control when she began interviewing this woman who's her birthday twin. So she thought it would be this one-off project, but in the end, 2 people ended up dead. Ooh, what's going to happen? So our story begins Saturday, June 8th, 2019. Josie Fair and her husband, Walter, go to this posh little gastropub to celebrate Josie's 45th birthday. This is outside both their comfort zones. Usually for Josie's birthdays, they stay in. They don't go to hip places like this. And it's kind of repeatedly given to us that Walter's very old. He's a lot older than Josie, but we don't know the age gap yet. So already I was like, what? Ugh. Like she talks about his age spots on his hands and how he doesn't like going out or doing things.
And she says it's for her 45th. So
yes,
that imagery of age spots on his hands immediately put me in, he's got to be at least 15 to 20 years older than her. At least.
I was like, I'm not good at math. Yeah. So while they're there, another woman who, like Summer, and her large, rambunctious, loud party of 14 also enter the restaurant. And so there's a really big juxtaposition between Alix and her fun, happy party and Josie and her husband. And Alix is also celebrating her 45th birthday. So Josie follows Alix into the bathroom. The first thing she says to her is, Hi, I'm your birthday twin. And they also find out that they were born at the same hospital.
Yes. So kind of creepy. I mean, it's setting an ominous tone already from the beginning, honestly. Just Josie following her. But maybe, I don't know if you felt this way, but maybe I would insert myself into someone else's birthday celebration if I was out at a restaurant with a loud group. Like I would maybe be like, oh, it's my birthday too. Happy birthday. Like that would have been maybe my interaction.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had plenty of drunk conversation in a girl's bathroom, but I don't know if that would be the way I introduce myself to someone. Who knows?
No.
But anyway, so the next morning, Josie wakes up. She's like mildly hungover. She's had a dream about Alix.
Which, I don't know.
I mean, we know what we're getting into.
Yes. Yeah.
But
obsessive.
So we kind of get an idea of where Josie and Walter live, next to this bus stop on this busy, dirty road in London. The area used to be wealthy, but now it's kind of run down. And Josie remembers that she was internet stalking Alix the night before, found out she's this reasonably well-known podcaster and journalist, and she starts listening to episodes of Alix's podcast. It's called All Woman, where she interviews successful women about being successful women. And the first episode Josie listens to features a woman whose controlling husband died of natural causes. But she says something about death is a clean break. And this really resonates with Josie.
Yeah, that was one of my big quotes from this book. It was exactly the woman who Alix had been interviewing had said, I would not be where I am at this very moment had he lived. And that was a very, well, it's a turning point for Josie as a character, for sure. Hearing this, I think that she could have got there on her own, but that statement of, I think it was the seed in her brain to...
Yeah, it was all a perfect storm for her.
Yes.
So meanwhile, Alix wakes up and her husband, Nathan, is not home. The night before, when they got back from the birthday celebration, he went back out to keep drinking. And she wonders kind of idly about Josie. It's so weird to me that they were both they remembered each other so well, or like thought about each other so much.
I thought that was odd as well, because again, it seemed kind of, at least from Alix's standpoint, as a one-off bathroom encounter with another woman. Like you said, that happens all the time when you go out to restaurants, when you're out with friends and you're doing things like running in and drunkenly joking with other people that you run into in there. Just, it naturally happens all the time. I don't know that I would always be thinking or would even think about those encounters the next day at all.
Yeah.
Unless something really memorable happened, which this case wasn't really that memorable. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't regularly people that were born on my birthday, but anyway. So she's wondering if Josie's husband ever pulls this kind of stuff, you know. Nathan finally gets back at 4 p.m. And by this point, it's like pretty clear. He has a serious drinking problem.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So over the following week, Josie keeps listening to Alix's podcast. She listens to like 30 episodes, which it's all the episodes. It's not that weird, but also it's kind of weird. And all of these women's stories are inspiring. Alix is a great interviewer. You know, she's like loving it.
Yes. And it's obsessed. And I think that she becomes obsessed with Alix's focus on these women. I think that it's not really explicitly stated, but I think that she really latches on to Alix because I think it has to do with Josie feeling like she's going to be able to get something from Alix, or she could get something from Alix, or Alix is going to make her feel important, like these women are important. I think that was a little bit of the obsession vibes that I picked up from that, or just what was her end goal in really listening to those over and over such a short course of time to be able to do so.
So then Josie keeps lurking, and she sees on Alix's Instagram that Alix's children currently go to the same elementary school, which I know is not like the British word for it, whatever, but that Josie's grown daughters, Roxy, who's now 21, and Erin, who's 23, used to attend. Erin still lives at home, and Roxy left home when she was 16. And so Josie takes this school connection along with the birthday twin thing as more of a sign that, like, this is important. Like, we're connected. And so by the next Monday, Alix is annoyed with Nathan because he just came back from his second bender in a row. And now she's starting to question their marriage and she's not loving it. And after she drops the kids off at school, she runs into Josie, which, happy coincidence.
Yeah.
She's like, oh,
random.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, see you later. And Josie's like, wait, I want to talk to you more about the birthday twin thing. And Josie convinces Alix to visit her at work the next day, which, as readers, we know this was absolutely not an accidental.
Yeah. No, it was totally orchestrated. And if this is not the biggest reason to not put your children's school information available out to the masses,
100%.
That is, as a mom, that was something huge for me, that I was like, this is why I don't have the storyboard that this is my kid's grade and their
First
teacher's name and what school. Yay.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that really solidified my paranoia around that. So thank you for validating me in those fears.
Thank you, fiction book. So now Josie's back home. She walks past Erin's door, and Josie thinks about knocking and going in, but she can't face it. She thinks she'll check on it tomorrow. Plus, Walter's door to Erin's room isn't that bad, but she doesn't know how that can be true because she's like, it smells in there, but she just can't face like going inside. Josie then kind of starts thinking about Roxy, her younger daughter, and she gets this old picture out of the girls, and she's like, who could have guessed that this is what my life would be like? She just really is like, seems stuck in the past, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Josie makes dinner for her and Walter. She makes Erin's special dinner, which is soft baby food. This is like so disturbing.
So this really freaked me out. And at first, I wondered if Erin had some type of medical condition or was injured in some way that her room had to be turned into like a hospital room, because Josie continues to say that she never would go in there. And it's, the smells comment, like, that was my initial instinct, was that Erin has some type, she's injured or medical, she has some type of issue that she can only eat pureed food. And listening to her talk about pureeing food like meat and potato, like, I was so grossed out. So grossed out.
So gross. Yeah, that is disgusting. So Erin's extremely particular about her food. She only eats soft food. Josie just leaves the tray outside of the door, knowing that Erin will like get it later and put it back out. Again, House of Horrors. Then Josie tries to find information about Roxy on the internet. It's kind of implied that she does this kind of frequently. And then Walter and Josie continue to have a domestic evening. They go to bed. Josie pretends to go to sleep. So does Walter. And then about 30 minutes later, Walter gets up. She hears him walking down the hallway. And then Josie stretches out in the bed knowing that he's not going to come back. She's by herself for the rest of the night. And this is another very ominous. I think my note here was, what the fuck is going on in this house?
I can't even tell you how many what the fucks I had in the beginning of this book because obviously we're meant to not get all the information. However, I could not figure out why. And I thought, okay, so we know Walter and Josie have an age gap. I'm like, is he going onto his laptop? Like, is he like, how creepy is he? That was my whole fear a little bit, is that he's just some total perv weirdo. And that's why. And she is maybe just trying to block that out of her life. Like, she just is.
Yeah.
I don't even care that he's gone. I'm just glad he's not in bed with me anymore. That was a little bit of my initial thought on that.
Yeah. I think I thought for sure he was going into Aaron's room. That was my first,
yeah.
But then anyway, okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we cut to a person being interviewed for the Netflix documentary. And it's one of Josie and Walter's neighbors. And she just kind of talks about how weird the family always was. Josie was kind of a bitch. She thought at first Walter was Josie's dad. And she used to see their daughters a lot until about 5 or 6 years ago. And until that time, there was usually like a lot of yelling and fighting. But in the past 5 or 6 years,
pretty quiet. A little bit, which again, a little ominous that it went from that to quiet. So why is it so quiet?
Yeah.
This is a recurring theme too, that a lot of people think Walter is Josie's dad.
Oh,
it's brought up so many times. Even Alix, I think
Wait, don't get ahead of me. I'm about to talk about it.
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
Okay. So the next day, Alix visits Josie at work, like they talked about. And Josie asks Alix if she's ever thought about doing a podcast about someone who's about to change their life rather than someone who already has. She's like, and by the way, that's me. I'm that person. I'm about to change my life. Alix is like, okay. So they meet to brainstorm a little bit about what the pod may look like, and they're going to record a test episode. Josie's also, she's not telling Walter that she's meeting Alix for this podcast, or she's going to do this stuff. So the next day, Alix has a studio in her backyard because she's a professional. And that's where she and Josie meet. Josie's like really obsessed with Alix's house and life in general. She's just like, this is so beautiful and perfect. And in this first test episode, we learn that Josie is an only child. She has a strained relationship with her mother. She never knew her father. Alix is like, wait a minute, hold the phone. That guy at your birthday wasn't your dad? And Josie's like, no, that's my husband. Here we go. We met when I was 13 and we've been together since I was 15. And Walter was 42 when they got together.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like, ah. So Josie continues. She goes on to say some pretty disturbing things about how there's like power in being a teenager and people want what you have, which essentially is
youth.
Yeah. And Josie is like, well, I see now that I was being used and groomed. And she recounts first seeing Walter when she was 13. He was a contractor doing electricals on the estate her mom ran. It's an estate like, I thought it was like an apartment complex or something.
I think it is. And I think they historically, like in Britain, still call those that. It's almost like when families used to run an estate and they provided all of the food and like farming funds for people to live on their estate, kind of. And I think that they still just call it that, but it's turned into like exactly what you said. I think it's more of like a communal apartment complex or something like that. Or they've turned these more historical buildings into like larger centers for people to all kind of live in. Because a lot of times I think they talk about when they live at those estates, like there's specific schools that are associated with those estates. Okay. And that kind of stuff too. Yeah.
Interesting.
But don't quote me on that. I could be totally wrong. Totally wrong.
I know. I was like, I could Google it, but I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so then Walter showed up at Josie's 15th birthday party, and Josie describes his interest in her feeling like a monster, quote. And she remembers how she was the only one who could see Walter was attracted to her. It's just so it's a very like yucky.
Yeah, which we find out later. Anyway, I don't think that might have, I think that could have been her viewpoint on it for sure. But obviously the result of that was still the same, that they still ended up together. So regardless of maybe.
I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So now we cut to another interview in the Netflix documentary, and it's this woman named Helen, who is Josie's childhood friend. They used to run around the estate together. And Helen describes Josie as a bit odd, controlling, really passive aggressive. It's like, she would just get mad at you for no reason. And Helen does agree that Walter groomed Josie, but she also blames Josie. And I was like, what world are we
What?
living in?
Yes.
So I was
what am
just
I
like,
reading
oh
that
my
this is?
God. Yeah. So after this, Josie's walking home from Alix's house and her head's just spinning. She's like, so much to think about. And she's really putting Alix's life possessions on this pedestal. And then she reaches into her purse and pulls out an espresso pod, which I guess like a Krug, like a coffee, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Keurig
I'm trying
machine
to think.
type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She stole from Alix's studio. Josie doesn't have an espresso machine at home. She just wanted a piece of Alix's glamour in her life. So she gets home and puts it in her underwear drawer. It's her little souvenir from her first episode.
I think that in that specific part where she's talking about and looking at it, she says she puts it in her underwear drawer. I think I annotated and highlighted serial killer because I'm like, you're taking tokens. Like, what are you? This is such odd behavior.
Yeah.
And especially for like, of all the things to take, that was an odd thing to take. That was
an easy grab,
I guess, and probably least noticeable, right? If you're trying to take, like if she has a jar of those, one going missing is probably not noticeable. She doesn't probably want to freak her out too much and think she actually took something of importance. But that was very strange to me because I don't even think she drank coffee with her there. Small. I thought it was tea.
I can't remember. Yeah, I can't. Well, maybe an espresso tea. Who knows? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So Walter, is like, where do you keep going? But she's still not telling him. And she puts off going into Aaron's room yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Nathan doesn't come home from work that night. Good for nothing.
Yeah.
Alix tries calling him, goes to voicemail. She goes back out to the studio and re-listens to Josie's interview. And she's still reeling from the whole 15-year-old girl, 42-year-old man, bomb drop. But she's like, I'm on the cusp of something big. Like, this is a good story. So she texts Josie and says she wants to continue the project and asks if she can go to the estate where Josie grew up and where she met Walter and see what that's like. Josie has a girl crush on Alix, so she's psyched that she got a text, and she is thinking, she has this like weird sense of joy thinking about her mom meeting Alix and realizing that someone like Alix is interested in Josie.
This was a huge moment where I was like, Josie is crazy because, but like, I can understand wanting maybe like, because we didn't know a whole lot about her and her mother's relationship at this point yet. But at first I was like, was her mom like, did something happen at home and that's why she latched onto this older man kind of scenario? Like kind of, I'm expecting this very dark kind of past with her mother. And because then she also talks about wanting to almost like prove to her mother that she is this more important person than maybe her mother ever thought she was. So I at this point, I thought, well, maybe we've got some type of something happened at home when she was a kid that has
I was like,
launched into this. Yeah.
Well, I was like, you don't start dating a 42-year-old man when your home life is perfect. Okay. That just doesn't happen.
No.
So, instead of answering the text, though, right away, Josie stalks Alix for a little bit more online, and then she hears Walter's muted voice coming from somewhere else in the flat, but she ignores it and goes to bed.
What is he doing?
Just the way it's worded, right? He could be doing anything, but it just doesn't seem like he's doing something good. All right. We are now at Friday, June 21st, which, just in case anyone's wondering what day it is. Nathan's been out on another bender. He never came home. So Alix is kind of annoyed, but she drops the kids off at school. And she ends up talking to this woman named Mandy, who's worked at the school for 20 years. So she asks if she remembers Aaron and Roxy Fair. Mandy tells Alix that Roxy, she's like, oh my God, yes, Roxy was wild, oppositional, she's like serious behavioral problems. Aaron, though, was super sweet, total opposite of her sister. And she was probably autistic, but never diagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Erin was in year 6, she broke her arm. Initially told people that she fell out of bed. And then one day she told her friend Roxy did it. So social services got involved. And that was the only time Mandy ever met Walter, and describes him as a big man with a big temper. And so Mandy also says that Josie was really odd and just kind of let everything play out like it had nothing to do with her. And then Roxy was pulled out and homeschooled. Yeah. Quotes.
Yeah. That part I was like, so how did that get by social services? Because I would assume they would have to do
You
some
like
type
have
of
to
follow-up.
report or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how'd you get away with that? I don't know.
Yeah. But I think that there's some things that were maybe intentionally vague with some of that, and as that you just get to pick to fill in the blanks a little bit. But yeah, that part I was like, okay. Then they're also introducing that Walter has this temper. So then you kind of, there's an outside perspective, not from Josie, but from another individual who was like, oh, he had a huge temper. And so that was, again, concerning, like what is going on in that house. What is happening?
Totes.
Yes.
Then a few days later, Josie still hasn't been in Erin's room, but she tells herself she's going to go in next week. Every time she walks by the door, she has this little fight with herself. But she takes her dog, Fred, for a walk and goes by Alix's house. She watches Alix and her sisters coming back from being out and having fun. They go inside, and then Josie goes back up the street and walks next to Alix's house and picks a flower, takes it with her.
Just stealing something
Just
every time.
The little things.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So then a couple days later, Alix and Josie visit the housing estate where Josie grew up, and they meet Josie's mom, Pat, who's nothing like Josie. She's loud, charismatic, put together. And Pat wants to know why Alix is doing this podcast about Josie.
Which just totally negated Josie's whole pump up of herself to be like, oh, my mom is going to be so jealous of her, and she's going to learn. I'm going to show her how cool and important I am. And mom was just like, why are you doing this? This is really like, you shouldn't waste your time on this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So after talking with Pat for a little bit, Alix is like, oh my God, she hates Josie, actually. Pat reminisces about how she didn't want to be pregnant, have a baby, and how her life may have been different. That is like a recurring theme, I think, throughout this book. All of them sort of kind of wondering what might have been. And
without this major life event,
I was going to say, man,
where would I be? Yeah. Yeah, that too. Yeah, if this man didn't do this to me, where would I be? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, valid. Okay, but anyway, then they take a tour around the estate, and Josie shows Alix her childhood bedroom. Anyway, it's clear to Alix at this point that Pat is a narcissist, and that kind of helps her understand Josie a little bit more. And then Alix, she really goes out on a limb here, and she asks Pat a few questions about Josie and Walter, but it is understandably very awkward, and she gets shut down pretty quickly.
Yeah. That, yeah, I don't know how I would respond. Like, just it seems like it probably was a very difficult thing for her mom to go through, and that's without additional context. So it's very just valid to be kind of like, yeah, no, we're not talking about this at all. I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah. Stranger that I just met.
Yeah.
So then, meanwhile, Nathan's been on his best behavior since his last Bender transgression, and he says he wants to take Alix to lunch because we're working from home the next day, but she's like, I'm busy. I'm recording a podcast. But she doesn't tell him that she's interviewing Josie, the birthday twin girl, and she's kind of cagey about it. She's like, if he has secrets, I can have my own secrets. Like, it's not really... Yeah, she just doesn't want to tell him.
Yeah.
But so
being petty, I get that. Tit for tat.
So then, Josie, so Josie rushes over to Alix's house the next day, and she's all excited to see her, but it's Nathan that opens the door. So this is the first time they see each other. And they go into the studio. Josie's like, my mom isn't what she seems at all. She was a terrible mother to me, Alix, a terrible mother. And Alix is like, bet. Can we talk about that on the pod today? But first, let's talk about how you and Walter became a couple. So now we cut to the Netflix documentary again. It's showing, I think, just Alix's studio, whatever, but it's a voiceover of the podcast episode that they're about to record. And so Josie's recounting how by her 15th birthday, she and Walter were like sort of friends. He's always talked to her if they crossed paths on the estate. He always waved, was nice. And he remembered Josie's birthday from the year before. And he'd gotten her a bracelet, which she still wears to this day, which Alix is like, what? You still have it? She's like, yeah, duh, we're married. Then after school that day, Josie went with her friends to the park, but Josie was totally over hanging out with all the kids, and she didn't want to kiss the gross little boy that Hannah, the girl that was interviewed earlier, was trying to hook her up with. So she leaves, she gets home, and her mom's giving her a hard time, being like, why don't you want to hang out with your friends? And so she leaves, and she goes finds Walter, and he takes her to the pub and pours a shot of vodka in her lemonade, and then he kisses her. Josie's befriended the monster. Yeah. So
God,
Josie leaves afterwards, and Alix is like, yo, girl, you married a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, she's just freaking out. And then Alix uses the bathroom and the downstairs and realizes the soap dispenser is missing. So she asks Nathan. He's like, maybe your weird friend took it. And she's like, okay, whatever, dude. Cut to Josie tucking Alix's fucking soap dispenser into her underwear drawer at home. The soap.
So this, like, just again, a random thing that can be maybe written off as to why it disappeared, but it's still a weird thing to take. It is such a weird thing. And I think that I'm like, she's trying to steal like the Nespresso pod. First of all, she's like, that's elegant. That's fancy. I want to be that. Oh, this soap smells really good and elegant and fancy. And I want to be that.
Yeah. I think the soap dispenser is like kind of fancy too.
Mm-hmm,
it wasn't like a dial plastic soap dispenser. It was like,
no,
pretty.
Yes. Yeah.
Josie's like getting off about being in Alix's house again. And she's like about meeting Nathan. She was like, he's got a stupid face. And having Alix look at her like she's interesting. And so once again, this time actually Josie tries to get into Aaron's room. She actually opens the door, but there's stuff on the floor blocking it from opening. And she tries to call out for Aaron, but Aaron is a gamer and she's always on her computer and has headphones on, so she doesn't hear her. And so Josie's like, okay, great effort, team. I'm done for the day. So she gives up.
That made me, I was relieved at that. I was relieved that Aaron was just a gamer and not like handicapped or something, and that Dad was being weird and going in, just.
Yeah. But, anytime I think of a gamer, just my first thought is, that South Park episode where they do World of Warcraft and they all get really serious about it and they're in their chairs and like, I'm always like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So that weekend, Alix is walking her daughter to a birthday party. It's raining and she runs into Josie walking her dog and they talk for just a second. Alix goes on her merry way. She drops Eliza, her daughter, off at the birthday party. She like shoots the shit with the moms for a little bit. On her way back, she finds Josie standing in the rain in the same spot that she left her at. And she kind of is like, okay, come with me. She coaxes her into a coffee shop and like, goes to the counter to order them drinks. By the time she turns around, Josie is gone. She's ghosted.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. So Josie gets home that afternoon and just continues to be like disillusioned with her life. She goes and lays in bed and she's just reflecting on all the things she used to love to do. But she's like, did I really love that? Was I just doing it because Walter, I wanted to be the perfect wife for him or like be his dream person. And she's just like she's in crisis. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She's having a moment.
Yeah.
And it's like talking about the things on the podcast. It's like dredging things up for her. It's like going to therapy and then you have to deal with all these latent emotions. And while
it's pretty obvious she hasn't done any of that. Like she has not processed or talked to anybody about any of this. Because it sounds like she was definitely a loner and has always been a loner. Like she doesn't have really a lot of friends. Like Walter was really it. So now she's getting to unload all of this, probably years and years and years worth of feelings and emotions onto Alix, or at least is dredging those up. Like she probably lock and key had those tucked away for the entirety of her life up until that point. That was how I felt about that.
Totally. And so, we find out that while she was with Alix in the coffee shop, she thought she saw Roxy out on the street, and that's why she left. She ran after whatever she thought she saw. So to make herself feel better, she puts on one of Alix's old podcasts and falls asleep listening to it.
I'm so sorry that I left you. I'm going to listen to your voice while I go to sleep.
Which is like, that's a fine thing to do, but not to a podcast with like a person you know.
Nobody needs to go to sleep listening to us, please and thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, on Monday, Josie texts, she's feeling better. She texts Alix like, sorry, I was having a moment. And they plan to meet the next day. So they're recording again. Alix asks Josie what Walter does now that he's retired. And Josie's like, not a lot. I guess he emails his sons who live in Canada. He hasn't seen them since their mom left with them when he and Josie got together. So we find out that Walter was married when he and Josie got together. And she's like, obviously, I didn't know that he was married. I never would have, gotten involved with him if I knew that. Just wait. and she said she didn't find out he was married until she was 18 because Walter has a flat in London that they always went to, and his wife and kids lived in Essex. So after this, another bomb drop, right? And I was also like, good for you for moving to Canada. Get them out of there, you know?
Yeah. You don't need your kids like with, I mean, because I don't,
Yeah.
I don't remember them talking about how old his children were necessarily, but she could have not been more than 10 years older than them at any point, I don't think. So.
Yeah. So let's start over. And then Alix drives Josie home. So now she she gets to see where Josie lives, and she kind of like looks, she's like watching through the window and she sees Walter and just noticing again how truly old he is. So now it's 4th of July. Josie, okay, we're kind of getting into Josie's denim obsession. She wears the same denim jacket that she had as a teenager. And I still don't get it. And same denim jacket she had as a teenager when she went on her first date with Walter. So she's even like, I wonder why I have so much denim. Same girl. We're wondering that too. Like, why? She's a denim dog carrier, a collar. She always has something denim on, apparently. Shoes. She has denim curtains. I didn't even know that those existed.
She is a seamstress. She probably made them herself.
True. Maybe. That would be weird. I made these custom denim curtains of all the jeans of the people I liked that came in.
It's like Leatherface, but not, kind of. She stole scraps of denim.
Yeah.
From her
okay.
job.
So she's having a denim, like aversion for a second. And so she purposely dresses differently. And Walter makes a comment when she leaves, like, yeah, are you going to meet? You having an affair? And she's like, oh my God, stop that. Alix immediately comments on the fact that Josie isn't wearing denim. And she's like, can we talk about that on the pod? All right. Cut to Netflix documentary again. This is the recording from the 4th of July episode. So it's a voiceover. I don't know, just random shots. But Josie's recounting the first time she went to Walter's apartment on her 16th birthday. So birthdays, I guess, birthdays were important to them. I mean, really. And the fact that, like, it's always so low key or, like, I don't know, just like creepy birthday things. But she went to Walter's apartment on her 16th birthday. This was the first time they met in private. And she says she kind of knew because they weren't going to be in public that it was going to go down. And she made it very clear to him that it needed to be special. And so he had champagne, music, low lighting. I know, it's like making me feel sick. And he proposed to her. They got engaged. And then, quote, he took my virginity.
God, so gross.
Horrifying. Jesus. Okay. So the next day, we're just kind of jumping all over the place. But the next day, Alix's neighbor's son, his name is Harry. He drops by because he is a dummy and is locked out of his mom's house. And Alix has a spare key. So she remembers he's like the perfect age. She's like, hey, did you go to school with Roxy and Aaron? And he's like, oh shit, yeah, I remember them. Roxy was insane, like scary as shit. And I quote, and he's like, do you know their mom? She's like, oh, pump the brakes. Okay, I'm interviewing their mom. She's not my friend. But, and she mentions that Josie like said Roxy left when she was 16. And Harry goes, left or ran away? Alix like, huh? And he tells Alix there were lots of rumors, dark rumors about their home life and abuse is like thrown around. Aaron was so thin and super weird. She never ate solid food. Okay, bye. Thanks for the key. And he leaves. Then that weekend, Josie goes back to the coffee shop where she thought she saw Roxy, where she ghosted Alix. She sits there for a while, people watching, doesn't see Roxy again, obviously. She like feels kind of sad about this for a minute, but then that feeling is replaced by relief, which is just weird.
That's a weird thing for a mother to feel about being so worked up over maybe seeing your child that you haven't seen in how many years that you ghost on somebody and then you kind of go back to that same spot because you're looking for them, but you're not really. Like to me, it seemed like she was afraid to encounter her again, like in public, kind of like she wanted, like it felt like she wanted to almost like get it out of the way and see her again, but also was like terrified of kind of how that would end up happening.
She clearly avoids situations that make her uncomfortable. So
yes.
So then she walks by Alix's house. No one's home. So she looks in their windows and is just snooping around. Then she hears a car. It kind of jolts her out. She's like, oh God, I got to be quick. I could get caught. And so she looks around. She needs a piece of Alix. And she goes into their recycling bin and takes a magazine out of the recycling bin.
So it's like anything that Alix has touched is what she is grabbing, right?
But then,
like
the next thing that happens, the first thing I thought this is what happened. I was like, thank God they did this because later that afternoon, Nathan is like, Alix, your weird friend was poking around the house earlier. I see her on the Ring camera. And so they watch her like looking through all the windows and taking the magazine out of the recycling bin.
That would have done it for me. Like if I was Alix, I would have been like,
I was like, get out.
But how did she not connect the fact that like the hand soap was gone? Because like if I would have seen somebody do that, yes. How did you not, or at least suspect? Because that's never brought up. But in my mind, I would have suspected at that point that maybe she's the one who did that,
or being
too,
like,
right?
Oh, the kids probably took it or put it somewhere and she just forgets. But I'm like, soap? The soap has never not been in the bathroom. Like,
right?
What? Anyway, so then later that night, Alix and Nathan go to a party. Alix is kind of loving it. She's like, this project is kind of terrifying and exciting. And you're just like, okay. I mean, I guess I get the journalist like bug or whatever. I mean, I can understand it. I don't really, but yeah. And she's like, if I can stick with this podcast could be it, the making of my professional career. So Alix gets home by herself later because, of course, Nathan starts getting drunk and he goes off doing whatever he does when he's drunk. And she is just feeling kind of on edge. She texts Josie being like, hey, I saw you on the Ring. Is everything okay? Josie brushes it off, but Alix goes to sleep kind of being like paranoid and just not feeling super great. Meanwhile, Josie is just all comfy cozy in bed, flipping through the magazine that she stole and marking items in it that she wants to buy. Of course, Walter's not in bed, which gives her a dark feeling that she ignores. And then a receipt falls out of the magazine and it's dated on Josie and Alix's birthdays. Josie's like loving that she gets to see some of the things that Alix bought. And it's like a look into her life. She takes the receipt and kisses it,
which is
and puts it back in the magazine.
So wild.
I was like, what?
I'm like, this is obsessed. Like she's obsessed. Like you talked about girl crush. Yeah. This is a huge obsessive girl crush that she has on Alix. And as the reader, you are getting more and more uncomfortable at this point with every single thing that Josie does. And this was the point, I think, really in the book for me where I was like, I need to find out what's going to happen because I'm very unsettled with the way that this is trending right now.
Yes.
Very
yes.
unsettled.
I was like, please, I really hope Alix doesn't die. So
I know.
I was like, oh God, that's definitely happening. Like she's getting kidnapped and Josie's going to wear her skin as a suit.
She's already stolen the denim jeans from all of her previous clients to make her curtains. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So it's the next weekend. Out there interviewing again. Alex finally asks Josie why she's always wearing denim. And Josie's like, I've really been thinking about this a lot, actually. Thank you for asking. And she thinks it has something to do with her early days with Walter and a comment he made, which made her jacket seem powerful and important. It was like so her. And they're like, whatever. So she started to make sure she always had something denim on. And then Josie shows Alix some old pictures. Walter used to be a hunk,
yeah,
and it's disturbing because Alix gets it. She's like, fuck, like if I were to bump into young Walter, she'd be attracted to him. But like, yuck, he's a grown man and Josie was a child.
Yes.
So Alix asked Josie what she'd tell 13-year-old Josie now. And after like some reflection, Josie responds, I'd probably tell 13-year-old me to run for the hills and not look. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So then you get this whole like something really bad did happen. That was my whole something really bad for Josie happened. Well, it did. But
she married a pedophile.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. What more else worse needs to really happen besides that, I suppose. Yeah.
Let's see. So on our way out, Josie and Alix are talking about like pets, which because she's like, are you gonna get a puppy or a dog, whatever? And Josie takes her dog everywhere with her too, so it kind of comes up a lot. But Alix is like, no, I can't take care of something else. And she mentions Nathan has a drinking problem, and there are lots of nights where he doesn't come home. And Josie doesn't like that. She's like, well, what are you gonna do about that, Alix? And she's like, I don't know. And the conclusion to this whole thing is basically like men, which I mean, yeah, I get that. What are you gonna do?
I know. Just kidding. And I think that this was the first time that like Josie like really says something super negative about Nathan.
Yeah.
And
she comes in like hot.
Very firm with that. And and I feel like Alix could have very easily been like, I'm sorry, you're judging my marriage with my husband that does,
and she
I
does
will admit
think that a lot. Yeah.
but you have a pedophile husband who,
Right.
like,
yeah.
don't throw stones, honey.
It feels very like, yeah.
But Alix, well, I was just going to say, but Alix doesn't like totally refute any of those statements that Josie ever makes.
Well, yeah,
about
she's
the
like,
negative.
I know. It does suck.
Yeah, bummer. Yeah, sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. But so then Josie asks Alix to take her shopping so she can wear things besides denim. She's like, I want to get a makeover. And it turns out they both have time. So they just go right away. They just go shopping together. Shopping montage ensues. Josie gets some stuff. Yeah. And when she gets home, Walter looks at her questioningly and she's like, whatever, dude. And Josie ignores the smell from Aaron's room. She goes to hang up her stuff. And then she takes the bracelet she stole from Alix's house from the table by the front door, gives it a little kissy, and puts it in her underwear drawer with the rest of her trophies.
Oh, and
wait, I guess there's one more thing. Then she's like, I need to help Alix out, right? So she sends Alix a Pinterest meme that says, a weak man can't love a strong woman. He won't know what to do with her. And the next day, Alix gets that text. She's like, the fuck? She's like, this must be about how Josie wants to change your life. Honey, have you seen my bracelet? Like,
just so oblivious. So she just reacted so negatively to me bringing up a problem that I have with my husband. And I just assume that she's not talking about my situation at all. It's only hers.
Right.
It can't be mine.
The miscommunication trope can happen between friends.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good stuff. So then Josie shows up unannounced and she's like, what did we made plans, right? And Alix doesn't. She's like, well, I don't think so, but hey, I'm not busy, whatever, just come on in. And Josie asks about Nathan. Alix immediately regrets telling her anything. And Josie's like uncomfortably probing. And then Josie asks, when Alix thinks about Nathan dying, how does it make her feel, sad or free? And Alix is like, well, it makes me feel sad. And Josie's like, well, clearly you're busy. So, and Alix is like, wait, no, we can record if you want to. Like, you're already here. Let's just go. Such a funny.
It's like, well, in reading that, I'm like, a couple things have happened now that are major red flags. You have caught her stealing personal items from your trash can, and she's very erratic. Like, her behavior at this point, you can tell the emotional in her tone, things flip really quickly with her. But I also, like you mentioned with Alix, I understand the journalist side of this. This could be really interesting and weird. Even though I'm uncomfortable, I think that it could really, other people are going to find this very entertaining. So as much as I don't enjoy these interactions, I am going to push through it because I want this content. I want to be able to.
Anything for the story. Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
So we cut to another Netflix documentary podcast episode voiceover. Josie's recounting how she and Walter told her mom they were getting married on Josie's 18th birthday. They just like really love birthdays. And her mom was just like resigned to that and told Josie she didn't like it, but she was an adult now. And I'm also like, that is so weird to me. Like, it would never just be like, sure, you're 18, do whatever you want. Absolutely not. So you get the actual law involved. No, we're not doing that. And then she reminds Josie that she has choices, and then she left and slammed the door. And then Josie went home with Walter and never left. So then Josie's now saying she realizes that she was just moving out from one controlling person and in with another controlling person. So now we cut again to this couple being interviewed, and they have Fred, Josie's dog. And they explained that a few years ago, while they were on honeymoon in the Lake District in 19, this woman appeared out of nowhere, gave them her dog, and was like, please, I can't take care of him anymore. He's nice once you get to know him. And she just disappeared. And then they didn't realize who she was until a few days later. And they're like, when everything went crazy. And then we look, blah, blah, blah. What does that mean? What does it all mean, Basil?
What does it all mean? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And that was interesting to me because I was like, she had to have done something wild to give up that dog, because we know how attached she is to that dog at this point. So I'm like, she's crazy. Something crazy happened too. Yeah.
Yes. All right, now we're back in the present. Josie's sitting outside of that same cafe where she saw Roxy, blah, blah, blah. And she's ruminating about Alix's, quote, stupid-faced husband, quote, and how he leaves Alix alone with her children. She's like, at least Walter never did that. Like, he's always home, but maybe she does want Walter to be somewhere else. She's reflecting on that, and she thinks about how she wants a life like Alix, but wait, Alix loves her stupid husband, and she's kind of disappointed in Alix. It's like she's not living up to her expectations or being perfect like she wants her to, and she then thinks about how she hasn't seen Roxy in like 5 years. Her thoughts start to spiral back to the day Roxy disappeared and the reason why she left, and she feels a nauseating darkness envelop her. So to soothe herself, she takes the teaspoon that she stole from Alix's studio, caresses it gently, and then kisses it.
What is with the kissing? I don't get that. Why?
I don't know. Just adds an extra layer of like creepiness.
Yes, and I think maybe that's the whole thing. Well, and it's like serial killer behavior. Even just thinking about
every
being
time she sees
disappointed in
Alex.
Alex.
Right. Yeah.
The disappointment
Very
is like,
stalkerish of like, how dare you're perfect. That's why I'm yeah.
I have you on this pedestal and you have problems. Like you're making this. You're not making me like you have problems. You're supposed to be this perfect person, and I'm idolizing you basically.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kissing everything that you've
oh man
touched.
So when she gets home, Walter is like, I never see you anymore. And she finally tells him that she's been spending time with Alix. And his first response is, the woman you met on your birthday? How the fuck does he remember that?
I don't know.
I was like, what?
It makes me wonder if there was a separate conversation we were not privy to that she maybe, since she is a loner, like, I wonder if he just doesn't know that he doesn't really think that there's anybody else in her life.
Right. And I think they must have talked about it at the restaurant. And I know Alix talked to Nathan about it that night too, whatever. But yeah, and I mean, I guess they don't do a lot of other stuff. So he's probably like, where else could you have met someone named Alix? But that just is so, and it really hasn't been that long. It's like July 9th. So it's been a month, but that's still crazy.
Yes. Yeah. It's a short period.
Yeah. So I was like, what? Okay. It's just funny. And he's like, well, why didn't you just tell me that that's what you were doing? And she's like, oh, I thought maybe you think it was weird. And they get into this little fight, which culminates in Josie slapping the shit out of him and screaming, I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. And Walter just blinks and puts his glasses back on and gets back on his computer.
Like regular Tuesday. Like makes you, I mean, his reaction made me be very like, this is not the first time that she's probably freaked out on him in this way.
Yeah.
That was kind of his reaction, was so just blasé about the whole thing. Like, okay, dealing with this again. Yeah.
Crazy.
So crazy.
All right. Meanwhile, Alix runs into Josie's mom, her name's Pat, on the way to the bank. And Pat's like, are you still doing that podcast? Like, it's weird. That's weird that you're doing that you want to interview Josie. And so Alix asks Pat what she thinks of Walter. And Pat's like, what the fuck do you think I think, bitch? It's disgusting. And who knows how long it was going on before they told me. It's like, and she kind of concludes, like, basically they deserve each other. And she just feels bad for her granddaughters. And Alix tries to get some more information about Roxy leaving home, but Pat clams up immediately. And when Alix gets home, she tells Josie she really wants to meet Walter and interview him if she can. But Josie says he'd never agree to that. He doesn't know about the project still. But maybe if Alix invites them over in a social setting and talks to him off the record, he'd come as long as Alix's husband was there, like maybe dinner. And so get out now while you still can. So then the next day, Josie floats the dinner idea to Nathan and they both agree like it'll be super fucking weird. But Alix thinks it's really important for her podcast. Like, please, you're also a huge dick that goes out on benders all the time. And Nathan doesn't want to be there. But Alix is like, you absolutely have to be here or else Walter won't come. He's man's man. So Nathan agrees. And Alix invites Josie and Walter for dinner that Friday night. And it's currently Wednesday. And she also plans to meet Josie the next day for another session. So Josie tells Walter he needs new clothes and a new haircut. And so he goes out and buys clothes and gets a haircut and whatever. And then Alix asks Josie to also bring a picture of the girls for the next episode. And Josie feels nervous to talk about her daughters. Alix asks Josie questions about the girls, and Josie admits that Erin's always had problems. She was told Erin had a global developmental delay, but Josie thinks she's just lazy and passive. I was like, she's like, it was always difficult to get a reaction out of her, hard to know what she was thinking. And then Roxy had oppositional defiant disorder, and Josie agrees with this, but I was like, you're just going to ignore
those up. Yeah. I had to look those up.
Yeah. Well, oppositional defiant disorder, I actually know about, but I feel like it's very uncommon. And I was like, would that really have been a thing that you could even get diagnosed with? That long ago, 10 years ago or whatever?
Yeah, so, like, 2008, 2009, probably, like, 10
Like, it
years
just
before
seems
they're
I feel like
recording.
even now people
Yeah.
barely know what it is, and
Yeah, and so I had to do some looking up because I was just like, "What?" Or
yeah.
just also, like, how interesting that both of her children have kind of severe disorders.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
And then
It's
me as a mom,
telling.
I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad for you as a mother to have to go through that." That was kind of
Yeah,
almost my initial, like, that would be really hard kind of thing, and if
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, she also says Roxy used to like it a lot when she was a child. But now we cut to a Netflix documentary. Again, it's another voiceover, but this isn't the one time. It's really, really creepy. Showing a pink wooden chair with a heart shape cut out of the back, and it's been modified with straps and belts. And it's the episode they're recording right now. Josie's recounting how Walter couldn't deal with the girls. He was away a lot. Josie is like, I liked when he was away before the girls were or she liked when he was away, and before the girls were born though, like she didn't even have a key to the flat, and she would just like be stuck there all day and have to wait for him. But like when Walter was gone, she and the girls were happy and free, and when he got back on the weekends, everything would change, and like not in a good way.
Yes. So then you're like,
um
"What's with that chair and the
oh my
straps?"
god,
And
I
what would
know,
happen
I
when he
know.
would come back?
I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
god. Yeah.
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 So horrible. So then we're back in the present. Josie asks Walter if he ever thinks he sees Roxy or wonders if she's dead, and Josie says she's going to talk to Alix about the girls, about what happened, about what Josie and Walter did. She kind of like lays it all out like that. And he gets upset and is like, are you actually crazy? And Josie's like, it's time to tell. Maybe Alix can help them. He's like, she's not going to help. She's going to call the fucking police. He continues to get upset. And Josie's like, it's happening. I can't live like this anymore. And Walter's like, well, I'm married to a crazy person. And Josie's like, well, I'm married to a pedophile. And Walter's like, excuse me? And they're just getting amped up. Josie gets up. She makes food for Erin, leaves outside her door. She's about to touch the door when she stops, and she's like, actually, I'm starting to feel like Erin's also part of the problem, and she's not on my side. And I was just like, what is happening?
It's like, up to this point, you haven't even had an interaction with her that we have seen on page.
Right. I was like,
So
how could you possibly?
like, how is she the problem? Like, what is
Oh
I
my
think,
God.
again, the what the fuck is going on in this house was so
Yes.
many of my comments to everything that was going on up
Yeah.
through this book. Yes.
So this is the next night they're going to go to dinner at Alix and Nathan's house, but we are going to stop right here. And please join us for part 2 of this excruciatingly long deep dive into None of This Is True.
None of this is true.
We're having fun. That's the important part.
Yes, that's all that matters. I mean, I hope you like
All
it too,
right.
but
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
bye.